Let's talk about something called block chords, or block chording, which is a technique of piano playing that involves both hands in something that comes out very legato and smooth. I'll show you. Let's see how we would harmonize an ordinary C diatonic scale, a white note scale, in block chords. The original scale would be, and the result might be, okay, how did we get that? Well, first of all, we added an octave underneath in the other hand. And then, in the right hand, we put three notes, the sixth, the fifth, and the third. So that gives us the harmonization for the first note. Then on the D, we went into a diminished chord, and so forth. Here's an F minor chord, but it didn't have to be. We could have gone... In fact, there are quite a few different variations of chords. You could harmonize this diatonic scale as differently as this. You have your choice, and it's fun to experiment with the exact tones in your chords. Now, if I were to take a melody that was written by Alexander Borodin in the 1800s, it's a very familiar one. I'm sure you'll recognize it from some of its later uses, but originally it's by Borodin and it's from the Polovetzian dances, and it works very well for block chord styles. I'm going to play the bottom two parts of each harmonization in the left hand and the top three in the right hand, because it's a little more convenient that way. Recognize it? Now I could do this too. I could then, instead of doing it in octaves, I could put the bottom note down two notes. Sometimes we call this drop two, and the harmonization then becomes in practice you mix them up, you go back and forth. And the interesting thing about this sound, which by the way works on the piano at its best down here, it doesn't work so well from here, but it has a resonance down here. Now, if you were orchestrating this for a sax section, it would be the most convenient thing simply to have the top saxophone on an alto, next one on an alto, this one on a tenor sax, this one on another tenor, and this one on the baritone, doubling the top. Which kind of sounds like Glenn Miller, if you think about it. And sometimes you might have something other than saxophones and include some clarinets, but we needn't get into the orchestration now. Basically, this is how you take the block chord style of piano playing and use it for an orchestration for a sax section. And there are other applications too in making arrangements for big bands. Then there's the matter of changing the melody so it swings a little more. Suppose I did this.